Welcome, guys. We've had the qualifying session for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and that was intense. What a session in the end. We'll run through every one of the sessions, and then we'll talk about the plans for the race and how that might plan out tomorrow. Into Q1, and well, Franco Colapinto rounds off what's been a disappointing campaign for him and Alpine. Last again, Pierre Gasly in 19th place. Alpine struggling again, probably where they were normally in this car, so nothing unusual there. Nico Hülkenberg will be disappointing in P18. His teammate qualified up in P7, so a lot more in that car. That Sauber did look quick around here, so a very disappointing session from him. Alex Albon, another poor qualifying session in P17, just goes to show it was round off sort of a disappointing end to the season. I'll be hoping he can put things right with a brilliant race tomorrow. And well, Lewis Hamilton out again 4 times in a row in P16, out in Q1. What an absolute disaster for him and Ferrari. Got an awful lot of work to do over the summer. The car isn't great, but I don't think it's as bad as P16 as Lewis Hamilton showed. Oscar Piastri led the way in that session from Max Verstappen, and it was Kimi Antonelli third. And boy, I think Oscar was hoping that would be the way the qualifying session ended, because Norris was 6th or 7th in that session. So had it ended that way, it would have been advantage Oscar big time. Fernando Alonso for me was a star of that session, getting that car up into P4. Into Q2, Lance Stroll 15th place. What do we expect? Disappointing from Kimi Antonelli in P14, Liam Lawson in 13th place, Carlos Sainz in 12th, and Ollie Berman in P11. He'll be massively disappointed because he was raving about how good that car was since practice session. He looked quick in Q1, but just didn't quite get it right in Q2. But it was so tense and so close. From 1st to 15th was just 3.5 tenths, so close. There was absolutely nothing in it, really. I mean, Ollie Berman needed like 10,000ths of a second to get into Q3, so it was really, really close there. Gabi Bortoleto, the star of that session for me, got the car into P5. Fernando Alonso in P4. But like I said, I think the most disappointed out of that session would have been Ollie Berman, because he and that car did look quick. George Russell led the way in that session from Max Verstappen, and Lando Norris in 3rd place. And then we head to the final Q3, and it is Max Verstappen on pole position. What a lap. 2 absolutely brilliant laps from him when it counted. Both of his laps within that session were good enough for pole position. Absolutely tremendous. Pulled it off when it counted. It looked like the sector 3 was where he was losing most time, but he equalized that by the time he come to the end of the session. Helped by his teammate a little bit, especially on his first run. Yuki gave in Max Verstappen a nice tow to help him into that sector 1. He did a brilliant job first time round, and that really, just give that little bit of advantage that you need. And Max Verstappen absolutely pulled it off with a brilliant pole position. Lando Norris did what he needed to do, lines up in 2nd place, but he's squashed with his teammate behind, between 2 championship rivals. So, I mean, what would you do? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you're Lando Norris, does he kind of just let Oscar go and fight for 3rd and just finish 3rd in the podium? You can't be too cautious. And it'll be interesting to see how he plays that tomorrow. We'll talk about that more a little bit later on. George Russell in 4th place, a solid qualifying session from him, not spectacular in the end. Charles Leclerc with a brilliant P5. That car is an absolute dog, and for him to get that car up into P5, he's done an absolutely tremendous job there. Fernando Alonso P6, he's probably a little bit disappointed. That car did look very, very good up until in that final Q3 session, but he's put himself in a place to get some brilliant points tomorrow. Gabriel Bortoleto in P7, an outstanding job from him in that Sauber. He's gone really well around here. Esteban Ocon in P8. probably where he expected to be, given how good that Haas was. And I think that's why Ollie will be a little bit more disappointed, because there was more in that car. Isaac Hadjar in P9 and Yuki Tsunoda, who he replaces, in P10. No time set for Yuki, so I think he just went out really to help Max Verstappen take that pole position, and didn't get a lap in the end, which is actually a little bit disappointing, because had he just put in a lap, who knows where he lined up and what role he could have played for Max in the race tomorrow. But yeah, let's talk about that. A crucial turn 1, lap 1 in the championship for tomorrow's race. Max Verstappen probably can't really play any games off the line, but from there onwards, you can bet your bottom dollar that he'll do every tactic under the book to try and hold Lando Norris up, to get Oscar Piastri in play, and get some team infighting going on there. But then from there on, it's a tricky game to play, because he actually needs Norris to fall off the podium positions. Who knows how is it going to play out? It's just crazy. Oscar can't let Lando go, so will he go for a dive bomb, trying to do something where he sort of pushes Norris wide so he loses a couple of places, but then his fight is really with Verstappen to win it. He's got a tricky game to play, Oscar, because he's obviously, that's his teammate, hits his team, and can't really afford to try and force or do something to Norris, in the fact that he might damage his car and be out of the championship. So yeah, it really interesting how this could play out up at the front, especially with the top 3 in the championship taking the top 3 positions and it working out the way it did. Max, well, all he's got to do is drive and try and hold Verstappen up, Norris up, a bit like Lewis Hamilton tried with Rosberg all them years ago, and well, kind of hope that people behind them are brave enough to make a move on the championship contenders and not just watch them go around because they don't really wish to, you know, be a part of the drama within the championship. Norris might be helped that he's got his mate Joe Russell, who wants him to win the championship up in 4th place, so kind of like a strange rear gunner for Norris. But I mean, let's just hope they all drive their own race and it never comes to any of these sort of tactics. We've got Fernando Alonso there, but has his car got enough in race pace to try and, you know, play some sort of part in this? But Norris in the box seat, I guess you'd say, kind of, you can afford to just drop back behind Piastri, let the other two play the games that they want to play. I mean, then it'll be more interesting because Verstappen can't really afford to hold Piastri up, because Piastri, if he takes the win, and then something does happen to Norris, then Piastri is champion, and Verstappen loses out. So what kind of games can Verstappen then play? Does that negate that sort of element if Piastri is past Norris? And is that kind of the best play when you look at the championship? And can you drive like that when you're fighting for a championship? If you go for, like say in football, if you go for half a challenge, you always come off worse off. So can Norris really afford to do that? He said somewhat reluctantly he's going to try and fight for the win. If there's an easy opportunity on Max Verstappen, he might go for it. But is it worth the risk when you've got, you know, everything to lose? He doesn't need to overtake Max Verstappen simply in the race tomorrow, falling behind and just, you know, being third in the on the podium. If either Piastri or Verstappen win it, is all that Norris needs. Yeah, it's intriguing, it's exciting, which makes it absolutely intense for the race tomorrow. I can't wait for the action to get it going. It's the perfect grid for the championship, just because it can go so many different ways when the lights go out. But watch out for the race review tomorrow. I'll have it all the lowdown. I'm just hoping for a clean, exciting championship, and just some permutations in there. I mean, could we get Norris, Piastri, Verstappen all take a hit? Norris, Piastri go out. Norris and Verstappen go out. Piastri with damage, then has to fight his way through the field, and then, you know, clinch his first world championship that way. Anything's possible. Dream. It might come to fruition. I mean, there's such an exciting thing when we've got 3 guys going for the championship. You know, anything can happen. A clean race is the perfect race for Lando Norris, and Max Verstappen absolutely knows that, so I'm sure he'll be playing some games in that one. But let's wait and find out. It'll be interesting. It'll be tense. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. As always, see you on the next one.